December 18th, in the Christmas story of how Winston delivered Christmas. Chapter 18. Stinky and therefore tasty. Food! Food everywhere. Mountains of the stuff. Wherever Winston looked, food danced in front of his eyes. Glossy fruit and vegetables in baskets, trays of crisp pasties and pies, towering displays of ornately iced cakes and golden brown biscuits, and sacks of exotic spices. A wall of wine bottles stood behind a beautiful counter. Canisters of teas with magical names were lined up like soldiers before mounds of rich smelling coffee beans. There were mountains of nuts, castles of brightly filled jam jars, and a long counter bursting with every kind of sweet imaginable. Everywhere, hampers stamped with Fortask's famous logo stood piled up in towers and arches, some with their lids open, and all manner of delicious goods bursting out from inside. There were also, realized Winston, as his nose twitched wildly, cheese. Somewhere in this enormous palace of food was wheel upon wheel of cheese, and from the smell of it, it was some of the stinkiest and therefore tastiest you could ever imagine. Winston's stomach growled again. It was so loud it almost knocked him over. He realized that he was absolutely famished. He couldn't actually remember when he'd last eaten properly. Whatever it had been, it couldn't possibly have been as delicious as what it was on offer in the half full of grub. Winston bit his lip and thought. He knew he shouldn't take anything. That would be stealing. But he was so hungry, it was giving him tummy ache. The excitement of the evening so far had caught up with him, and he felt his energy draining away. If he didn't eat something soon, he doubted whether he'd be able to finish his mission. So Winston made a decision. He would just go and see if he could find where the cheese was, and if he could find some tiny bits, crumbs, really, he would eat them. He knew it was a bit naughty, but the job he had to do was jolly important, and he thought anyone else would do the same just so they were able to complete their mission. So Winston hitched up the letter under his arm and took a step into the food hall. And it was at exactly that moment someone threw a walnut at his head and shouted, "Oi!